Hello, everyone, and welcome to your High Vibe Daily Message for Tuesday, February 16th. Let's go ahead and get into the messages. As you guys know, this is a collective space. So when we come together for these readings, they are for the collective. This is not for any one person over another. And the way that you can more easily digest these messages is by basically listening in, focusing in, and if I say anything that makes you feel any type of way, any sort of pings in your stomach or your heart, or even thoughts that may come in, downloads, messages that you may be getting, insights that you may receive, take note of those things. Something that I don't normally say that I am going to say today is if you feel compelled to go get a notebook or anything like that, then do so, and jot down, like I said, the things that I may say that may be triggering for you, or any thoughts, feelings, emotions, circumstances that may come about through the conversation that we're going to have. As you guys know, I like to start out the High Vibe Daily with a little bit of astrology talk. There's not as much astrology talk for today, so we'll just knock it out. And then we're going to get into the tarot spread. I pull cards for all of us, and I always say a prayer over them and ask Spirit to give me whatever messages that the people who come across this video on today may need. If you guys see smoke bellowing across the screen, it's because I have this incense lit, so nothing's on fire, just so you know. But yeah, so we'll do the astrology, talk a little bit about the tarot, and then we'll pull a card from my Trust Your Vibes deck by Sonia Coquette. I adore this deck because it's full of action, like calls to action that we can use in order to forward whatever insights we get for today. So whatever, messages Spirit gives us, this will help us act on those messages, okay? All right, I'm trying to slow down too because the moon is still in Aries, which be having me like on crack or something. I'm sorry, not crack, but Adderall. I don't know. It just has me really super hyped up and like ready to just boom, 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 knock stuff out. But I find myself also getting very depleted of energy and kind of burning out. Crystal's crying on the comments right now. Hey, Crystal. Okay, so happy Fat Tuesday. It's Mardi Gras. Did y'all know that? I didn't know that until I looked at my calendar. I ain't from Louisiana, okay? But anyway, so today we have the moon squaring Mercury earlier in the day. As you know, we still have Mercury retrograde. And so that energy is a harder combination of energies. The moon is in Aries and the Mercury is actually... Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. It's not Mercury. It's Pluto. My bad. Let me take a step back. Moon is square Pluto. So there could be power struggles earlier this morning in the day. You might be in a fight over how you want to use your time, how you want to start your day. Like people may be coming... just sort of trying to like impose upon your energy this morning, and you may find yourself having to put up certain boundaries and wanting to do that Aries thing where they just go off and do what they want, as opposed to succumbing to manipulation, because Pluto is manipulation. Pluto is also like for me, Pluto is this energy of like tradition and what you should be doing and how we act throughout that. So again, there may be some sort of deeper things calling for your attention, and you're just like, I want to do my own thing today. So beware of the power struggles, okay? Try to oblige all of your obligations, because what you don't want to do is cause a struggle, because these two energies are already not seeing eye to eye. So just go ahead and knock out the things you need to knock out on the more responsible end of things, especially if you have anything concerning death, taxes, like any sort of paperwork, any sort of agreements that you need signed, any sort of deadlines that you need to meet. For me, these things are kind of in the realm of Pluto contracts, right? So we want to make sure that we're keeping up with all of our obligations and not letting our emotions just kind of take us too wayward. But please just handle your shit and then go do what you need to do for you. I've been telling a lot of people to make sure they take time for themselves in today. Welcome, Jet. But yeah, just make sure you take some time for yourself today, but also don't get away from your responsibilities to the point where you do something foolish or you fuck something up and you end up causing a premature death of a situation. Hope that makes sense for you guys. Later on in the day, we're going to have the moon actually in Aries. It's going to sextile the sun in Aquarius, so that's going to give us a little bit more of a confident energy. We're going to be feeding more into that spirit of vitality, right? We want to feed our energy and our emotions into things that will kind of soothe or kind of stroke our ego, make us feel good about ourselves, make us feel good about the place that we're at in our lives, make us feel like we're really being, of use to the collective energy. And so if there's any sort of networking projects or opportunities that you can jump on later this evening, I would say definitely that's a good time to start doing that. Even if it's not you getting together with other people, you creating plans and having those sort of moments with yourself, right? Where you're able to kind of use your life force energy to feed into your gifts, right? That eventually will help other people in some way, shape, or fashion. That will be recommended. And then lastly, I want to talk about the moon going into Taurus. I'm sorry, I'm sick of the moon being in Aries. It's too much. It's too much. Okay, Mercury in retrograde is doing a lot for me personally. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know how the last couple days have gone for you guys. I'm just like ready to get into this very self-care mode that Taurus puts us in. The moon being in Taurus is all about us feeding into what makes us feel safe, what makes us feel good, what makes us feel, you know, like we have things of value available to us, and that we can move throughout the world and take care of the things that we need to take care of without worry. So beware of laziness, because the Taurus moon does kind of give us more of this energy where you just do what you feel like doing. And most, like, Taurus is always about trying to find the easy way to do things. I'm gonna keep saying that because it is what it is. Okay, give me a Taurus that's not like A1 with the strategies and tactics of how to get more with doing less. Name me one. You can't. So the thing with them is they can rest on their laurels a little bit. That doesn't mean to say that Taurus doesn't have an awesome work ethic. So also this energy could be funneled into that way, like, or funneled into those types of things where you're planning, you're wanting to you know, plot out dates for your future. You're wanting to get certain strategies together. You could be making certain phone calls to certain friends or associates, networks, and stuff like that, trying to just get shit in motion for yourself. Taurus is all about doing things now that the future self will thank you for. So self-care, planning, finance is another really big thing. You know, most people are getting their W-2s and stuff. Go ahead and do your taxes. Go ahead and balance your books, okay? Because you guys know this financial year has been up and down. It's been crazy with COVID, the pandemic. You know, are you getting government assistance? Are you taking advantage of the, you know, all these banks are giving relief programs and stuff like that. Like, make sure you know where you're standing within your financial life, okay? And your financial health. That's going to be something you need to pay attention to over the next couple of days. That's all I've got for the astrology for today. So now that we kind of know what the undercurrent is and what the planets are influencing us to do, let's get into the cards. So I did ask that whatever messages came up would be of service to the people who come across this video. So welcome. If you made it here, it's because you're supposed to be here. Okay, go ahead and leave a like, leave a heart, share this video, do something. No, I'm just playing. But let's get into these cards. So the first card that comes up for me is the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups is a card that is about our childhood, and how we look back on the things that happened back then, right? The stories that we tell ourselves about how we grew up, how we were conditioned, what, you know, why we are the way we are now. And it's also like, it gives me this air of romanticizing things of the past. And so it asks us to really like sit and take a real look at the goings on, the events, right? The timeline. As you went through the timeline of your childhood, what were your checkpoints? Like, what were your trigger points? What emotions were you exhibiting at that point? What were your dreams back then? What were the things that as a child you would conjure up with your wildest imagination? It's a time to really take a look back and assess those things, because there's gems there. Now, when we start to break down, you know, what's there, it's going to turn out to be a different, it's going to be useful to different people in different ways, right? If you might have come from an abusive childhood, then you may have suppressed a lot of those things that happened back then. And, you know, it affects how you act in your everyday life, but it's asking you to go back and, like, deal with those things. Say you didn't have an abusive childhood, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, you know, I'm just a regular person growing up in the world. It still is going to serve you to take that look back, to take a little trip down memory lane, to just revisit your inner child. I think people think that once you get to a certain age, the child in you is supposed to die off. Go take a look at, what was that movie, Hook? I watched that movie with my daughter probably like a month ago. It was a good ass film because it talks about connecting to the essence of your inner child, because that person, that child never leaves us. And sometimes as adults, we get so caught up in the hubbub and the like motion of life and us moving forward, and it's all about growth. But how can you truly grow in the way that you need to grow if you're not paying attention to your inner self? I'm saying a lot because I'm trying to download this and make sure I pick my words. Where is my aquamarine? Child, I don't got it, but I got the selenite. Okay, so moving forward with this Six of Cups, it gives me that you may be glossing over some things that happened in your childhood. You may not be paying close enough attention to the call of your inner child and the actual needs. Think about deadbeat parents. Let's go there. You know how deadbeat parents will send you a birthday card and some Christmas money and a dress for Easter and be like, I take care of my baby. I'm there every holiday. I got all the pictures in my phone, all these things. But it's like, can you tell me that child's favorite color? Can you tell me that child's greatest fear? Can you tell me that child's greatest dreams and aspirations? How well do you act? Like, what type of relationship do you actually have with your inner child? And then the cards that come after sort of speak of this progression towards unifying the parts of ourselves that we may have denied or killed off in order to survive, in order to really truly get into a space where we feel like we're not just struggling in life. And like, you know how it is when you're in that early 20s, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's life is different, but that phase where you don't really know what's going on and you're trying really hard to just keep it together and figure it out. A lot of times we suppress our inner child to do the things we need to do, which, hey, I've been there, do what the fuck you gotta do. But at some point you have to ask yourself, are the things that I'm doing to go along, to get along, really fulfilling me? And a lot of times the answer to that question is no. And then we have to say, okay, well, how do I figure out what I need to be doing or what space I need to be in order to truly be in my true alignment? Like, I have people come to me and say, Nell, what is my purpose? My baby, I can't tell you that. I can help you find it. But you have to dig into your own psyche. And what we know is that most of our brain is developed in those early childhood years, right? And so we have to take a little moment to vacation in our mind back to that. And you have to almost be the parent, your own parent to your own inner child, right? And get on their level. I work with kids. I'm an educator. And one thing that they teach you first day is that you will not teach a child unless you can reach a child, right? So today you may be having certain insights and inclinations towards like, damn, I'm not taking good enough care of myself. And that's not necessarily always a surface thing as far as like, you know, the things on the outside. We need to take care of our inner selves. And revisiting, like I said, the feelings, emotions, dreams, aspirations, thoughts and concerns of your inner child will really help you to untangle some of this shit that's going on in your adult space. I have more to say about that. Let me just breathe. Hold on. Again, things that you may have avoided, you may need to do some work to start uncovering your psychological programming. There's this book that's called Psycho-Cybernetics. Shout out to Amber Khan. That's my favorite reader in the whole entire world. But it talks about how in those early childhood years, I'll say from about 0 to 7, we're programmed, right? By the things we see, the things we're exposed to, the environment, the people we're around. And we create this, like, it's almost like a thermostat in your mind. And these settings are based on the influences around you. And we don't even realize what our setting is for most. Like, unless you get to a place where you're ready to do that inner work and start digging within, we don't even know what our settings are. We're just acting out on them. We're projecting what our internal setting is. It's going to be a day where you need to try to like get that information out of you and be the parent to your inner child and say, wow, you're struggling in these ways. Here's your settings. How can we create new patterns? How can we create new neurological patterns for you that help you to become a more full, whole, balanced human being? Y'all share this video. Please share this video today. I don't even know what the spirit is that's coming over. Share this video today. Okay, so the next card that we have is the Lovers. I love the Lovers because it talks about love and romance, and I'm a Libra moon, and I love that shit, but it's not about that today. This is a collective reading, right? So we're not talking about relationships. We're talking about you. We're talking about us. We're talking about the collective spirit, the collective energy. So with that being said, the Lovers is also a card. It represents Gemini. Gemini, what do we know about that? It's the twins, right? And so the twins are sort of like the two sides of ourselves, left brain and right brain, the angel and the devil that sit atop your shoulders when it's time to make a decision. Think Kanye and how people are like, oh my God, he's always so contradictory. And like, he'll express two totally opposing thought forms in one sentence. And it's just like, it makes perfect sense to him. How is that? Because that's how our universe is. That's how everything here is on a dualistic program. Excuse me, I need some water. Everything here is on this program of duality. And so this is what I'm going to say is how it relates to the inner child card. When we start to look back at the things that have affected us in our past, we realize that, like I said, certain parts of us may be cut off. Everything in life can be assigned to, how do I want to put this, to one end of the spectrum, okay? And so what we realize a lot of times when we start talking about triggers and the things that are going on with us is that a lot of times the yin and yang energies within ourselves, the light and the shadow within ourselves, the light versus the dark within ourselves is what is where the imbalance is. When we suppress things that have happened to us in the past, it's usually because there's a part of us that we haven't integrated yet in order to be able to deal with that thing. Whether it's more of you're having issues with nurturing your inner child, which would be the yin energy, which would be the feminine energy, right? You don't have enough compassion for yourself. You have horrible self-talk. You know, you're tapping way too much into that masculine energy where you're just on go. I watched a documentary last night with my friend Crystal, and it was like this spiritual thing, and it was all women, and this one lady was like, everybody was crying and having testimonials, and this one lady could not connect to her emotions. And so the instructor was so fucking funny. She was like, yeah, you're a good little man. And it pissed this lady off so bad, but it's like, that's what I'm talking about. There's people out here who are acting only on one side of the program. You're too masculine, or maybe you're too feminine, right? You're not able to get up and go when you need to. You're not able to snap into action. You have parts of yourself that you don't feel like you can take care of yourself. You don't feel like you can really truly be responsible for yourself. All of these are inner child paradigms, like inner child issues that start within that inner child, right? And so we have to start really unpacking our shit in order to come into unification. I can't even talk fast as I'm thinking. Unification of the self. That's going to be one of our goals for today, is to find out where our imbalances are so that we can even the scale, and we can try to put a little more love or a couple more, you know what I'm saying, little coins of I call attention currency, right? We need to start paying attention to things. That's our greatest currency. We can't buy more time on this planet. One day it's all going to be done, said and done. So at this point, whatever you're giving your attention to, those are your greatest investments. Not the money that you spend, not how much you can get somebody, how much you can do for another person. It's where you're putting your attention, because you have a mission. You got something you're here to do. So the more time you're taking away from yourself, and trying to suppress parts of yourself to keep the ball rolling, you're only doing yourself a disservice. We really got to take time to slow down. I think this Aries moon going into this Taurus moon will really truly help us with that slow down, right? And really assessing our value, our worth, our connection, or the value of our connection to our inner child, right? Because we know that Taurus is value and the moon is connection, right? So our emotional connection to these, to ourselves. How well are you able to take care of yourself? That's a very Taurian conversation that we're having. And I feel like once we're able to balance out which parts of ourselves are supposed to be supportive and which parts of ourselves are supposed to be sort of like amplified and nurtured, right? Then we'll be able to come into, like I said, that state of balance. And then the third card that we have is the King of Pentacles. So I think that the point of this whole entire conversation that we're having, and the point of doing this work and having this motion in your life, is so that we can come to a space of, you know, and I took notes and I have not been reading these notes. I'm sorry. We can come to a space of authority for ourselves. We can come into a space of, like I said, being a successful parent and a successful watcher. An overseer, what's the word I'm really looking for? Protector of our inner child. This is the king of earth, right? And I keep talking about how the moon, the emotional undercurrent, is getting ready to transfer into an earth sign. And so it's giving me the concern here, and the goal here is to put more attention on how we're going to sustain long-term success. Because I think a lot of us are just, like I said, surviving. And we need to get into a space where we're able to thrive in real life. Not just say it on social media, but really be about that life. And it's going to take for us to deal with our inner issues, our inner child issues. To get to a place where you feel that you can do anything in the world. Especially for my men. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think a lot of men nowadays are a little bit, you know. But yeah, I think a lot of men are, you know, having this conversation with themselves, especially because women don't play the same role that we did 50 years ago, right? We can obtain our own shit and, you know, come to the table with something that's like, what is the role of the man? I think that instead of going externally to try to find that and try to define what that means, there needs to be a search, an internal search, and sort of like you really dealing with the memories. Like, y'all, whatever memories you're holding on to from your childhood, it could seem so insignificant. You're holding on to those things, and we create those checkpoints for ourselves for a reason. And so please do take the time at some point in your life to review those things and to talk to yourself about, like, you know, sometimes I just be smoking with my friends. We talk about shit that happened, be like, damn, that was fucked up. And that thing that happened when I was 7 is the reason why growing up I always did this thing, and now I'm looking at myself at this big age, and it's the reason why I'm acting on this particular program, and I see other people doing it different, and I'm wondering, how did they come to that point, right? You have a chance to sort of undo those kinks in order to make yourself whole again, so that we can have true authority and true ownership of our own lives in the directions that we're really going in. Let me look over my notes just to make sure I didn't miss anything. And I'm going to shuffle these cards too, so we can get our next, how do we move forward type of card. So I said, yeah, we need to unify the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine selves, and come into unification of self. Or even it could be with other people around you, but I really truly don't make these readings as relationship readings. These are all for us, right? To do the self-work so that we can be better partners and better people in the world. And yeah, mothering and fathering ourselves. I said that. You want to get to a space of mastery. Also visibility. This is another thing that he can afford himself. To buy himself land that he can run. And he, you know what I'm saying? It becomes his domain. He's king of his own empire, right? So this is really like the work that we need to do in order to understand that we're deserving of that. In order to understand that we are capable of that. And that it's something that we can sustain. Because I think a lot of us are just, man, we're compounding shit, trauma from our inner child life, and it's affecting our abundance. That's another thing with this card. It represents the channel of abundance opening up. And so I always say, in order to open up your abundance, you need to learn how to give. You need to learn how to be grateful for what you have. And I think that it's perceived one way. Like, you know, I'm grateful for what I have, so let me pay it forward to another person, which is an awesome practice. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. But also, don't forget to give to yourself, right? Don't forget to do things today for your future self, right? Don't forget to do things today that will make little baby Nell so happy and like so proud. You know what I mean? You can even, I do meditations, like, y'all heard of past life regressions? I do meditations where I will literally revisit my childhood self and just give her love. Just send her love. Because she need it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm the only one that knows what areas hurt. What areas need to be tended to. And the guide to that, my navigation towards those areas and towards those moments is, what are my most prominent memories? That's where the gems lie, okay? Yeah, so we need to start letting go of past traumas, hang-ups, challenges, and barriers. It is time to move past those things in real life. Not just talking that shit, but really doing the motion, right? Nobody got to know what you're doing in your own time. And I said, please think back to what dreams you had, what parts of your imagination you cut off in the name of growing up. That's the opposite. That's why y'all need to go back and watch Hook, because don't do that. What are you currently feeding that inner child, right? How are you talking to that inner child when you're having moments of struggle, moments of uncertainty, moments where you want to have a fucking temper tantrum? What are you doing to self-soothe? That's going to be a major key. In a place where we need to focus on bettering that practice. And I think ultimately what our inner children want is that freedom and liberation, but also the nurturing and the care that comes, like, enough to be safe in that freedom. And you have to give yourself that. So I'm always talking about freedom and liberation cannot come before discipline. You have to learn how to discipline your own inner child as well as nurture at the same time as this. It's the balancing of the masculine and the feminine to get you to your fullest potential. All right. Without further ado, let's see what actions we should be taking in order to help us throughout these energies and to move forward towards our highest vibration, right? And so the first card we got is be flexible. The number on this card is 40. That derives down to a 4 in numerology. And so today we're going to be asked to kind of go with the flow of our feelings and emotions in order to reach a point where we can create stable foundations. It sounds fucking backwards, but dig what I'm saying. We don't have all the answers. We can only plan but so much. And what you need to do is not try to be so in control all the time, and really allow yourself to just listen to yourself and literally just honor whatever comes up. I'm always talking about journaling. I've been talking to a lot of clients about free writing lately, and just using that as a way to get out what's in your mind. Because sometimes we, as a protection mechanism, we black out. We shut out certain things, right? Raise your hand if you've ever forgotten something on purpose, or something was so traumatic that you just can't even go back and recall the shit if you wanted to. The free write will help you to be more open and literally just be able to pour straight from your heart. So allow yourself to just kind of be a mess at some point. Set some time and some space for you to just let that shit out. And then use that, like I said, as your map. Your guidance, right, towards the areas that you need to go back in and give some more currency, attention of love to. Okay, all right, yeah. And then the second thing that we got is cloak yourself in light. So I do feel like what I'm asking you guys to do may be triggering for some people. It may be extremely, extremely triggering. And it's funny because that documentary I watched last night was talking about how we have to be careful as we're doing certain practices that are not, like, I'm not offering you guys therapy right now. What I do is more of a guidance, right? You're going to take what I'm saying that works for you and leave what doesn't. I'm not saying push yourself past limits that you think, you can handle. You know what you can handle. And so with any spiritual practice or with any sort of, exercise where you are going deep within yourself and you're going into spaces that might be a little tender, right? You want to make sure that you're asking for protection from your guides. Your guides could be your ancestors. It could be your angels. It could be God. You could call on Jesus. You can call on whoever you want, to be honest, to give you this protection. But you want to make sure you're cloaking yourself in love and light, 100% pure source light. Okay, so that as you take this journey and you begin to unlock Pandora's box, because once you start on the journey of healing, you can't go back to the way things were. Your level of perception is opened up so much so to the point where you got to keep going forward. You have to continue this work. It's a lifelong thing. And the protection practice is a piece that I think a lot of people are starting these conversations about spirituality and how to get deeper into yourself and do the work internally. But what we don't talk about is the precautions that you need to take in order to make that a safe journey. So make sure that you are using your protection practices. A simple word, spirit of love and light and all that there is, my most high benevolent ancestors, I'm asking you to come in and guide and protect me. Even when I do not, I don't know you're guiding and protecting me, continue to keep that light on me so that I'm always walking in your divine path type of thing. But you can phrase that however you need to phrase it. The number on this card is a 39 that takes this number to a 12, which takes it to a 3. And so this is about creating the safety for your inner child. 3 is the number of creativity, the inner child. Really being free in a very creative and non-structured way, right? But it is the child. And within that, what we know about children is that they need structure. They need nurturing. They need guidance. All these same things I've been talking to y'all about. And so it's up to you to create that foundation. Right? How are you going to get creative? How are you going about your life? I'm not just saying paint a picture. I'm saying get creative in your healing. Get creative in the way that you navigate struggles in your life. Get creative in the way that you govern yourself, right? And so how can we create stable spaces and foundations for ourselves to where we feel safe enough and free enough to let our true inner child shine? All right? That's all the guidance that I have for you guys today. I'm going to cut it off here because I got a lot more to say, but we be here all day. So I thank you guys and appreciate you for joining me today. Please make sure that if you are watching this on Instagram, you're sharing this with some people. Get the word circulating about these high vibe dailies. I'm really here as a service to you guys and myself. We here together. I'm not standing above y'all at all. These messages resonate for me as well. So let's create this community space here where we can just be honest about the work that needs to be done. Please, if you are on YouTube, make sure that you like these videos and you subscribe to the channel for more videos like it. And go follow me on Instagram if you haven't, because that's where I'm always doing things live. And I will be doing a live series because I want to get more interactive with my community. And so just look out for some announcements on that. I'm thinking about doing Fridays at either 5 o'clock or 9 o'clock. So just look out for that new development in the high vibe universe. But I'm wishing you guys so much love and so much light on today. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I will check in with y'all tomorrow. Bye.